2.1 million registered voters in Texas stand to get purged from the voter rolls.
That's if they do not vote in the upcoming presidential election. Tonight, the KHOU 11 Verified team is clearing up misconceptions about how this suspense list works. Here's Sherman Chow.
A viral post that's been seen more than 4 million times on X claims a voter is listed as suspended but can still vote if their personal information is updated. Additional questions have been asked to the KHOU 11 Verified team about what the state of Texas calls the suspense list. Viewer Seisha asks, is it true millions of Texas voters are being removed from the voting pool? We went to our sources, including the Fort Bend Elections Administrator, the League of Women Voters Texas, the Brennan Center for Justice, and the Texas Secretary of State's office.
Every state in the country conducts regular voter list maintenance, and in effect, they're required to do so by federal law.
Texas is one of 44 states, along with the District of Columbia, that must abide by the National Voter Registration Act of 1993. The law requires voter roll maintenance. However, the rules vary on how states maintain them. The suspense list is one of Texas's methods.
You end up on the suspense list if a voter registrar has reason to believe that you have moved.
Here's how the process works. The registrar sends a replacement voter registration certificate to the registered voter's address. Now, this is a non-forwardable piece of mail, and failure to return it, or if it comes back as undeliverable, lands you on the suspense list because the address couldn't be validated. Texas has a time frame for how long you can stay on the suspense list before you are purged from the polls.
You're only removed if you have missed 2 federal election cycles, so about 4 years.
So, yes, it's true millions of Texas voters could be removed from voter rolls if they do not vote in the 2024 presidential election. So how to end your suspense? Update your address. One way, do it online at votetexas.gov before the October 7th voter registration deadline for the November election. However, if on election day you are still on the suspense list, you will be able to vote.
All you have to do is attest to your address. You'll just fill out a form at the polling location, and you will be able to vote that day, and you will be off of the suspense list.
With your Verify, I'm Sherman Chow.
And online now, the KHOU 11 Verified team has the latest breakdown for counties in our area on how many voters are on the suspense list. It's easy to reach out to us, by the way, with your Verify questions. Simply send an email to us at verify@khou.com.
You have until October 7th to register to vote here in Texas. The steps are a little different than in the rest of the country, so Victor Jacobo is verifying if you can register online.
With the motivation of a presidential election, the push is on to register voters before the October 7th deadline. Most people will be able to do that online. Viewer Christine asks, is it true the state of Texas does not offer online voter registration? We went to sources including the Texas League of Women Voters and the Texas Secretary of State office. Online, potential voters have access to the portal that allows you to start the registration process on votetexas.gov. Once you get done filling out the form, at the bottom of the page, a notice in red says hitting the continue button will load your information into the proper form for you to print, sign, and mail. So the answer to Christine's question, yes, it is true the state of Texas does not offer online voter registration. The KHOU 11 Verified team learned Texas is the largest state in the country that does not allow voters to register online, according to Ballotpedia. But those already registered can update their information online, including your address. With your Verify, I'm Victor Jacobo.
There have been reports of non-citizens registering to vote in Texas elections.
Tonight, the KHOU 11 Verified team clears up the misinformation. Here's Marcelina Benito.
A post that's been seen more than 2 million times on X falsely claims immigrants were registering to vote in Parker County, Texas, west of Fort Worth. The claim dispelled by the chairman of the Parker County Republican Party, but it led to Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton opening an investigation. The incident has led to questions about the legality of non-citizens registering to vote. So let's verify. In Texas, is it legal for non-citizens to register to vote? We went to our sources, including the various sections of Texas law, the Brennan Center for Justice, the Texas League of Women Voters, and the Texas Secretary of State's office. To register to vote in Texas, you must attest to being a citizen of the U.S. It's the first question on the form.
Every state, including Texas, requires every voter, when they register, to swear under penalty of perjury that they are a United States citizen.
Texas's 2021 election law, dubbed SB 1, enhanced penalties, including possible jail time for non-citizens registering to vote. The law also created a system of checks and balances by using Department of Public Safety records and the Secretary of State's office to verify the accuracy of citizenship status. The answer to, is it legal for non-citizens to register to vote in Texas, is no. It's illegal for non-citizens to register to vote in Texas and does carry the possibility of prosecution.
The incidence of non-citizens getting registered is vanishingly rare. It almost never happens, in large part because people aren't willing to falsely swear under penalty of perjury that they're a citizen of the United States. The consequences for doing so are extremely dire.
When it comes to who can register people to vote, the 1993 National Voter Registration Act requires the Texas Secretary of State's office to make voter registration applications available through governmental and private entities. The law puts emphasis on also making applications available for organized voter registration programs. With your Verify, I'm Marcelino Benito. Across social media, this post, claiming an election poll worker marking your ballot could invalidate your vote, led viewers to ask the KHOU 11 Verify team if this claim is true. So here's the question. Would a poll worker marking your ballot invalidate it in Texas? We went to our sources, including the Fort Bend County Election Administrator, the Texas Secretary of State's office, the Texas Election Code, and the League of Women Voters of Texas. The social media post lacks information on where the poll worker training took place, leading anyone who spots the post online to believe this could happen where they live. Now here's the thing, election guidelines vary from state to state, and in Texas, a valid ballot will have writing on it when a voter receives it.
So all the ballots will have either a stamped or an inked signature on the back of them. For early voting, it's the early voting clerk's signature, and then on election day, it is the precinct judge's signature. And that is required by state law. So if it doesn't have that signature, it's an invalid ballot.
So would a poll worker marking your ballot invalidate it in Texas? The answer here is no. A marking by a poll worker does not invalidate a ballot cast in Texas. In the state, all ballots must contain the signature of the precinct presiding judge or the early voting clerk for the ballot to be valid.
I think it was just a misinformation viral video that happens.
Counties rely on poll workers through every election cycle. Election workers undergo training on issuing ballots, checking in voters, testing voting machines, and more. If you need assistance voting, you can ask a poll worker for help. And if you make a mistake marking your ballot, not to worry. Texas law allows voters to receive up to 2 additional ballots. With your Verify, I'm Marcelino Benito.
And if you're voting by mail this year, a heads up, you will have to pay for postage for the application and your ballot.
Yeah, so do voters have to foot the bill for postage on all election mail? Marcelino Benito verifies.
Texas is one of a handful of states that require specific reasons to allow people to vote by mail. And for those who qualify, the application and later the ballot will need to be sent to county election offices. Viewer Karen sent in a question about paid postage for election mail. So, does Texas offer prepaid postage for all election mail? To verify, we went to our sources, the U.S. Postal Service, the National Conference of State Legislatures, and the Texas Secretary of State's office. USPS considers election mail to be voter registration cards, polling place notifications, mail-in ballot applications, and the actual mail-in ballot. These items should come with an election logo, but USPS does not require states to actually use it. In Texas, the logo will come on mail-in ballot applications and the mail-in ballot carrier envelope. Both need postage to be provided by the voter. The KHOU 11 Verify team found in the Texas Election Code, the state does cover the postage costs for voter registration applications. Voters can request a prepaid postage form from the Texas Secretary of State's office. So no, Texas does not have prepaid postage for all election mail. Your mail-in ballot applications and mail-in ballot must be sent with postage. USPS requires election officials to let voters know the amount of postage required to mail the ballots in. If mail-in ballots do not have proper or sufficient postage, USPS says they will deliver the mail and recover the costs from the local election board. With your Verify, I'm Marcelino Benito.
And we put everything you need to know about the election in one easy spot. Text the word VOTE to 713-526-1111 for a link to our KHOU 11 voter guide. You'll be able to find a list of voting locations near you, check voter registration status, and sample ballots. Just text the word vote, 713-526-1111.